Hello, my friend. Welcome to another episode of the Daily English Podcast, the place where we talk like real people and grow like real learners. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you sat down, opened a book, and read just for you? No rules, no tests, no pressure. Just you, the words, and a little quiet space in your day. Some people say they hate reading. Some say they don't have time. But many people, maybe you too, actually want to read more. They just don't know how to make it part of daily life. That's what today's episode is about. Not the school kind of reading, but the kind that slowly shapes your thoughts, your language, even your future.
And I'm glad we're having this talk, because this episode isn't just for book lovers. It's for anyone who wants to think better, speak better, live better, one page at a time. You don't need to finish 52 books a year. You don't even need to call yourself a reader. What you need is a reason to start and a rhythm that fits you. So here's what we're going to explore today, step by step in simple, friendly English. First, we'll talk about a small but common problem. I want to read every day, but I always get distracted. We'll give you a few tiny fixes that actually work, nothing heavy or complicated. Then we'll look at the real pros and cons of daily reading. Yes, we'll be honest, reading has amazing benefits, but it also has challenges. We'll show you how to enjoy the good and gently fix the bad. After that, we'll look at a few famous readers, people you've probably heard of, and how they make time for books, even with busy lives. We'll also help you choose a simple yearly reading goal that matches your lifestyle, whether that's one book a month, a page a day, or something in between. Then comes the part most people need, how to read without getting bored. We'll give you small tools to make reading feel like a reward, not a chore. You'll hear a few real-life situations like reading on the bus, at a café, or during your bedtime routine, with short, simple role-play scenes that show how it fits into everyday life. We'll also review 9 useful English words that help you talk about books, ideas, and learning in a smart but simple way. And we'll close with soft reflection prompts, just a few small questions to help you start your own reading habit tonight. Nothing dramatic, no pressure, just you, a story, and a small, quiet moment that belongs to you.
So, who was this episode really for? If you've ever said, I want to be more focused, or I want to speak English more clearly, or even, I wish I had more peace in my mind, then reading is your secret tool, and this conversation is for you. It's for the student who wants to think deeper. It's for the parent who wants calm before bed. It's for the tired worker who wants something more than endless scrolling. And it's for you, the listener, who still believes that words can change a life.
Exactly. Because books aren't just about information. They give you language for your feelings. They give you tools for hard days. And they give you space to slow down and think, something many of us don't get enough of anymore. Even reading for 7 minutes a day can help you feel calmer, speak more clearly, think more deeply, and remember who you are becoming. That's what we want to help you unlock today.
And don't worry, we're not going to talk at you like a school lecture. We're going to talk with you, like two friends over coffee. You'll hear our voices, you'll feel the rhythm, and you'll learn how to build a reading habit that feels soft, simple, and powerful. And who knows, maybe by the end of this episode, you'll be holding a book instead of your phone and enjoying it more than you thought possible. So let's begin. Before we talk about the benefits of reading or the yearly goals, let's start with the most common challenge people face. They say, I really want to read every day, but I always get distracted. Sound familiar?
Oh yes, that's where we all begin. And in the next part, we'll gently show you how to fix that. with just a few tiny changes that make a big difference. Let's go there together.
You know, when I hear all these beautiful things about daily reading, I feel inspired. I imagine myself curled up with a book, feeling calm, learning something deep, improving my English and my focus at the same time. But then, real life happens. The day gets busy, my phone keeps buzzing, I scroll a little, then a little more, and suddenly it's bedtime. I say to myself, I'll read tomorrow. But then tomorrow looks a lot like today. And deep down, I feel a little disappointed in myself. I know reading is good for me, but I just don't do it. Why is that? Why is something so small still so hard to stick to?
That's such a real and honest question. You're not alone in this. Most people who want to read more aren't lazy. They're just a little lost in today's noisy world. Because reading doesn't shout. It doesn't flash or vibrate or send notifications. Reading is quiet. And in a world full of distractions, quiet things often lose. But the good news is, you don't need a big system. You don't need hours of time. You just need to create a few small habits that protect your attention. And these habits don't have to be difficult. They just need to be gentle and clear. Let me share a few that really work. Not because they're perfect, but because they're doable in real life. First, make your book visible. Most people never read because their book is hidden. In a drawer, in a bag, under the bed. So the habit never gets triggered. Out of sight, out of mind. But imagine this. You wake up and the book is right next to your morning cup. Or it's sitting quietly on your pillow. Or it's in your bag already marked for your ride home. Just seeing it reminds your brain, oh yes, this is part of who I am now. That tiny reminder can be powerful. Second, keep your goal very, very small. Not a chapter, not even 10 pages, just 2 pages, or 7 minutes. That's it. Make it so easy that you can't say no. Because here's the secret. Most of the time, once you start, you'll keep going. But even if you stop after 2 pages, you win. You're building the identity of a daily reader. Third, anchor your reading to something that already happens in your day. This is one of my favorites. Don't try to find time. Just attach reading to something you already do. For example, right after brushing your teeth, or right before you open your laptop, or while waiting for your tea to cool. Same place, same moment, same rhythm. When you do that, reading becomes automatic, like brushing your hair or tying your shoes. And finally, protect your attention. Turn on airplane mode for just 7 minutes. That's not much. But in those 7 minutes, your brain remembers what it feels like to focus again. To hear one voice, one story, one idea, without interruption. It feels strange at first, but slowly it becomes peaceful. And soon you start to look forward to that quiet time. Not because the book is magical, but because you made a little space for yourself in a world that pulls you in every direction.
I love that. It doesn't sound like pressure. It sounds like kindness. And maybe that's the problem. We try to force big changes with big energy. But reading doesn't need force. It just needs flow. I can see myself trying that. Just a small reading space, phone off, 1 cup of tea, a book in sight. 7 minutes, no more, no less. Even that feels like a new life.
And that's how it starts. Reading daily isn't about speed. It's about rhythm. It's not about finishing more. It's about noticing more. When you read like this, softly, gently, regularly, something amazing happens. Your mind slows down. Your words get clearer. And little by little, you become someone who thinks speaks, and decides with more care. Not because you're reading more, but because you're reading better.
That's the kind of change I want. Not dramatic, not loud, just quiet progress. And I think a lot of our listeners want the same thing. So now that we've learned how to handle distractions gently, maybe it's time to ask, why does reading even matter? What do we actually get from it, besides nice quotes and pretty shelves?
Great question. Because once the habit begins, we want to know, is it really worth it? In the next part, we'll look at what reading truly gives us. And yes, even what it takes from us. Because honesty makes habits stronger. And we are going to be honest about the pros and the cons and how to deal with both. Let's explore that.
Okay, I'm already feeling better about reading. Not because I've suddenly read 10 books overnight, but because now the idea feels lighter, more like something I can build into my life, not something I have to fight for. But still, I wonder, is reading really as powerful as people say? I mean, we hear things like reading makes you smarter or books change your life. But do they really? Is that just the nice idea we repeat, or is there something deeper behind it? Also, let's be honest, sometimes reading feels like a chore, or we fall asleep, or we forget everything, or we get stuck in the middle of a book and never finish. So tell me the truth. What are the real benefits of reading daily, and what are the downsides that no one talks about?
You're asking the right question. We often hear about the magic of reading, and yes, there is a kind of quiet magic in it. But reading is still a habit, and like any habit, it has its ups and downs. Let's start with the good, the kind that grows quietly but powerfully over time. When you read every day, even just a few pages, your mind starts to slow down, in the best way. Your focus stretches. You begin to think in longer lines, not short, rushed thoughts like social media gives you. And the words you read, they don't just stay in the book. They begin to shape the way you speak, the way you explain, the way you listen to others. You'll notice that your sentences get smoother, your ideas get clearer, and sometimes you'll hear yourself saying something and wonder, did I always speak like this? Or did that phrase come from something I read last week? It's a gentle shift, but it adds up. Reading also helps you see the world with more depth, because you're not just absorbing facts, you're entering lives, emotions, decisions. That teaches empathy, that teaches patience, and both of those make you a better human, not just a better speaker. So yes, the benefits are real, but you're also right to ask about the hard parts, because reading daily is not always easy. Sometimes you pick up a book and it's boring. Other times you're tired, or the book is too hard, or too long, or just not your mood. And here's the danger. When reading starts to feel like failure, we avoid it. We say things like, I'm not good at reading, and we slowly stop trying. But it doesn't have to be that way. The key is not to pretend the downsides don't exist, but to handle them gently. For example, boredom. It happens. But boredom doesn't mean you're lazy, it might just mean you need a format change. Try listening instead of reading, or pick a shorter chapter, or read in a different place. If you keep forgetting what you read, don't panic. You don't need to memorize. Just write down one line you liked, or say it out loud to a friend. That helps it stick. And if you stop halfway through a book and lose interest, that's okay too. You can stop. You're allowed. That's called DNF, did not finish. It's not failure, it's maturity. It means you respect your time and energy, and you're saving them for books that truly speak to you. There's also the time problem. People say, I want to read, but I don't have time. But here's what I've learned. It's not about having more time. It's about using small slices of time better. A few minutes in the morning, a break in the afternoon, 10 minutes before bed. If you read a little, often, The pages add up. And something else. Sometimes people feel guilty for not reading serious books. They say, is this book good enough? Is this helpful? But helpful doesn't always mean heavy. A light book can bring joy. A simple story can heal stress. And a fun book can bring you back into the habit when you've fallen out of it. So don't judge what you read too much. Just keep going. Keep touching the page. The habit matters more than the title.
You know what I appreciate about this? You're not saying reading is perfect. You're saying it's personal. And that's what makes it easier to stick with. I feel like I understand both sides now. Yes, reading brings better words, better focus, better thinking. But also, it brings real struggles. And those struggles are okay. They're not signs to quit. They're just signs to adjust. I like that. And I'm wondering now, who actually does this? Who reads daily? I mean, real people, not just writers or professors. Is this something successful people really do? And if so, how do they make time for it?
Great transition. In the next part, I'll tell you about a few famous readers, names you probably know, and how they build reading into their lives year after year. We'll also talk about different yearly goals, from tiny to ambitious, so you can choose what fits your life. Let's dive into that next.
You've helped me understand something important, that reading is personal, not perfect. I don't have to force it or finish every book. I just need to keep showing up, calmly, consistently. But now I'm curious, who actually reads daily? I mean, when I look around, most people I know are on their phones, not holding books. So is this just a dream, or are there real people out there? Busy, successful people who still make time for reading? And if so, how do they do it?
That's a great question. Yes, it's easy to think that daily reading is something only writers, students, or book lovers do. But many of the most successful people in the world, the ones who lead companies, run countries, or inspire millions, are daily readers. Not because they're trying to be perfect, but because reading helps them stay sharp, focused, and grounded. Take Bill Gates. He reads around 50 books a year. But what's more important is how he reads, slowly, with deep thinking. He even takes notes in the margins. Reading for him isn't about speed, it's about learning with attention. Then there's Oprah Winfrey. She's built an entire community around books. Why? Because she says reading taught her how to listen, how to feel, and how to connect with people beyond her own world. Even Barack Obama, during his presidency, said that reading helped him slow down and reflect. In a job filled with decisions and noise, reading gave him clarity. And Warren Buffett. He says he spends 5 to 6 hours a day reading. Of course, most of us can't do that, but his point is clear. Reading helps him make better decisions. Now, let's be honest. You don't need to read 50 books a year to grow. You just need to find a pace that fits your life. Let me give you a few simple yearly goals you can choose from. Start with something small, maybe 6 books in 1 year. That's just 1 every 2 months. Totally doable, even with a busy schedule. If you're ready for more, aim for 12 books, 1 per month. Some people like 24, 2 each month. And if reading is already part of your lifestyle, you can try 52, 1 a week. But honestly, one of the easiest and most gentle goals is this. Read 1 page a day. Every day. That might sound small, but think about it. 1 page a day is 365 pages a year. That's 1 or 2 full books, depending on what you choose. And more than the number, what really matters is the rhythm. Because once you start, you begin to notice something powerful. Reading doesn't just give you more knowledge, it gives you a new language for thinking. It teaches you how to ask better questions. It teaches you how to feel what someone else feels, even if their life is nothing like yours. It helps you understand the world, not just react to it. Reading builds judgment. It slows down fast thoughts and invites careful ones. It shows you patterns, principles, and possibilities. And maybe most beautifully, reading teaches you how to sit with yourself. Not distracted, not rushing, just present.
That's the part I didn't expect. Yes, I thought reading might improve my English, but now I see it also helps me become more thoughtful, more patient, even more curious. And I like that there are different reading goals. Some people go fast, some go slow, but all of it counts as long as you show up. I think for me, a page a day feels gentle, like a quiet promise I can actually keep. So now I'm thinking about the next challenge. Let's say I choose my goal and pick my book. How do I stay excited? Because if we're being honest, even good books can feel boring sometimes. What if I lose focus? What if I start but don't feel connected? Is there a way to keep reading fresh and fun without making it a job?
Yes, that's such an important part of the journey. In the next part, I'll share practical ways to read without getting bored. Small things you can try that make reading feel light, not heavy, enjoyable, not exhausting. And it doesn't take a lot. Just a few small shifts can change how you feel about the page. Let's talk about that next.
You've convinced me of something powerful, that reading is about rhythm, not speed, presence, not pressure. But let's be honest, even with the best intentions, boredom can still visit. Sometimes I open a book and my eyes move, but my mind doesn't. Or the story starts strong but loses me halfway. Or I'm just not in the mood, even though I want to be. So here's what I'm wondering. How do I stay connected to reading? How do I enjoy it, not just check it off my list? Is there a way to make reading feel soft, fresh, and even exciting without turning it into another task?
Absolutely. And it's so important that you asked this because boredom doesn't mean failure. It just means it's time to adjust the how, not give up on the why. So let's explore some gentle tools that make reading feel less like homework and more like a gift. One thing that helps many people is having not just one book, but two. We call this the two-book method. One book is serious, deep, maybe a little heavy. The other is light, fun, and easy to digest. You don't need to read both every day, but you can switch based on your mood. This way, reading always feels like a choice, not a chore. Another idea is to give each month a theme. For example, September could be Mindset Month. October could be Human Stories. November could be Health and Wellness. Themes give your reading direction and make book choice easier. You're not just reading anything, you're exploring something. And here's a trick that helps with low motivation. Try a 7-minute reading sprint. Set a timer. Just read for 7 minutes. That's all. No pressure to finish anything. Just show up. Most people find that once they begin, they want to continue. But even if you stop, you still win. You kept your promise. You kept your rhythm. Now let's talk about the permission to stop. Yes, stop. If a book doesn't hold your attention, if you find yourself dreading the next page, you're allowed to stop. You don't need to finish everything you start. That permission to DNF or did not finish gives you space to explore without guilt. And when guilt is gone, curiosity returns. If your eyes feel tired, try switching formats. From paper to ebook, from ebook to audiobook. Each format fits a different part of your day. Audiobooks are great for walks, chores, commutes. Ebooks are light and travel well. Paper books give your brain a screen break. One tool I personally love is the one-line journal. After you read, just write down one sentence that stood out. Not a summary, just a feeling, an idea, a phrase. That single sentence helps your mind remember.
And later, when you look back, you'll see your growth in those lines. If you want to make reading social, try buddy reading. You and a friend choose a book. Then once a week, you each share just one sentence that hit you. No pressure to explain, just a simple share. And sometimes the space you read in matters more than you think. Have a reading chair, or a reading lamp, or a soft sound. Rain, lo-fi, gentle jazz. Turn that space into a quiet signal. This is my reading moment. And lastly, before you even open the book, try asking a question. What am I hoping to learn? What part of myself needs this today? That question becomes a seed. And as you read, your mind gently searches for answers.
That was honestly beautiful. I didn't expect this part to feel so comforting. You didn't tell me to read harder. You showed me how to read kinder. I really like the two-book idea. Some days I want to grow deep. Other days I just want a story that lets me breathe. The 7-minute timer, that feels like a gift too. It's small enough to start, but big enough to change something inside. And the permission to quit, I think I needed to hear that. Not every book is for every season. That doesn't make me weak. It makes me aware.
Exactly. Reading isn't a race. It's not a ladder to climb. It's a companion to walk beside. And the best way to walk with reading is with gentle steps. So now that you have these tools, simple, peaceful, real-life strategies, the next question is, where did these tools live? What does reading actually look like in daily life? Let's visit a few real-world scenes. Moments where people read, quietly, naturally, in the middle of their everyday routines. That's what we'll explore next.
Okay, now I'm excited. I've got the tools, I've got the rhythm, I've even let go of the pressure to finish every book. But still, a question lingers in my mind. How does reading actually fit into daily life? Because let's be real, most of us don't live in quiet mountain cabins with hours of free time. We live in cities, we ride buses, we wait in lines. We have jobs, families, phones buzzing every hour. So, when do people actually read? Not in theory, but in practice. In the middle of a normal, messy, beautiful day.
I'm glad you brought this up, because reading doesn't only belong in study rooms or libraries. It lives in real places, in small, ordinary moments. Let's walk through a few simple scenes. Every one of them is real. And every one of them is a reminder that you don't need a perfect setup to grow your reading habit. First, the bus ride. You're commuting, the bus is crowded, some people are scrolling, others are half asleep. But you've got a small book in your jacket pocket, or your earphones in with an audiobook ready. 7 minutes to the next stop. That's enough. You read one scene. You hear one idea. That small window becomes your calm space, and you step off the bus a little more grounded. Culture note. In many big cities, reading on public transport is a daily habit. People even choose pocket-sized books to fit their rhythm. Second, the café. You're sitting alone, maybe waiting for someone, maybe just resting. Instead of checking your phone again, you open a book from your bag. You sip your coffee slowly. 10 quiet minutes. A few underlined lines. It feels soft, not rushed. You're not escaping life. You're entering it more deeply. Culture note. In Europe and Asia, it's common to see solo cafe readers. It's a sign of peace, not loneliness. Third, the bedtime moment. It's late. Your phone is nearby. You're tempted to scroll. Again. But instead, you reach for your book. It's already placed by your lamp, waiting. You read just 3 pages. The words slow your breath, and you fall asleep with your mind calmer than it was all day. Culture note.
Many sleep experts now recommend replacing screens with short nighttime reading. Even just 5 minutes helps the brain relax. Fourth, the lunch break. You're at work. You've got 20 minutes. Most people eat and scroll. But you pull out a book. Even if the room is noisy, even if it's just 5 pages, that's still your time. You're not being productive. You're being present. Culture note. In co-working spaces in universities, it's common to see people micro-reading, short bursts of reading during breaks to reset the brain. And fifth, the library visit. It might sound old-fashioned, but stepping into a quiet library still has power. No pressure to borrow. Just walk, browse, hold a book in your hands. Pick a section you've never explored. Let curiosity lead. Even 10 minutes there can inspire a month of reading. Culture note. Librarians are like book matchmakers. Don't be shy to ask for a recommendation. That's part of their joy.
I love how simple that sounds. Not perfect, but possible. It makes me think maybe I don't need more time. I just need to see the time I already have differently. 7 minutes on a bus, 10 minutes in a cafe, 3 pages before bed, 5 pages during lunch, a quiet walk through a library on a weekend. Reading doesn't have to be a separate world. It can live inside my world.
Exactly. And the beauty of reading in these everyday places, it grows with you. It becomes part of your story, not something added, but something woven in. So here's what I'd invite you and our listeners to do. Look at your day. Find one moment. Just one. Then ask yourself, what would happen if I gave this moment to a book? Not every day has to be perfect, but if a few of them are quiet, that's enough to grow something meaningful.
I'm going to try that this week. I already know which cafe I'll visit and which seat on the bus feels like mine. I might even go visit the local library again just to remember what silence feels like. Okay, so we've now walked through the spaces where reading can live. But what about the language? What if I want to talk about reading in English, describe what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, what I've learned? Maybe now's a good time to review some helpful English words that make reading conversations easier.
Perfect timing. Let's gently explore 9 words that show up often in reading discussions. We'll keep it light, simple, and useful, something you can try right away. Let's move into that next.
So far, this has been one of the most peaceful conversations I've had about learning. No pressure, no tests, just soft encouragement to bring reading into daily life. But now I want to take it one step further. If I want to talk about reading in English, how I read, what I learn, or what I think about a book, what words will help me sound clear and confident? Sometimes I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. Can you help me with that?
Absolutely. Let's look at 9 words that are perfect for this. Each one helps you describe what you do when you read, how you understand things, how you feel about what you read, and how you share your thoughts. We'll keep it simple. You ask, I explain.
All right. First word, I've heard this a lot. Absorb. What does it mean in reading?
Great one to start with. When you absorb something, you don't just see it, you take it in. It becomes part of you. In reading, absorb means you fully understand and feel the meaning of the words. For example, I like to read slowly so I can absorb the message. It's like soaking up water with a sponge, but your mind is the sponge.
Okay, that makes sense. What about skim? I see that in reading tips a lot.
To skim means to read quickly, just for the main idea. You don't read every word, you're just scanning to get the big picture. Like this. I skimmed the article to see if it was useful. It's useful when you're choosing a book or reviewing something fast.
Ah, okay. Now here's one I really want to understand. Annotate. It sounds academic.
It can sound fancy, but it's actually simple. To annotate means to make small notes on the page. You can underline, circle a word, or write a short thought in the margin. For example, I like to annotate my book with ideas I want to remember. It helps you connect with the text more deeply.
I see. That could help me focus better too. Next word. Digest. I know it from food, but in reading,
Good question. Yes, we say digest for food, but also for ideas. To digest something in reading means to take time to fully understand it. You're not rushing, you're letting it sink in. Here's how you might say it. This book is deep. I need time to digest it. It shows that you're reading with care.
I love that. Okay, here's a more emotional one. Engaging. What does it mean when a book is engaging?
Engaging means something captures your attention. It holds you. You want to keep reading. For example, this story was so engaging, I lost track of time. It's a great word to describe books that pull you in.
Next word. Context. I hear teachers say it all the time, but I want to use it naturally.
Sure. Context means the situation around something. It helps you understand the meaning more clearly. In reading, we use context to guess meanings of words or to understand a deeper message. For example, I didn't know the word, but I understood it from the context. It's like looking at the full picture, not just one piece.
Okay. Now, this one feels a bit tricky. Inference. Is it guessing?
It's more than guessing, it's smart guessing. An inference is a conclusion you make based on clues. The book might not say it directly, but you figure it out from hints. Like this. She didn't say she was sad, but I made that inference from her words. In reading, inference helps you understand hidden meaning.
I really like that one. How about paraphrase? I know it means say it again, but how do I use it right?
Paraphrase means to explain something in your own words. You're not copying, you're rephrasing. It's helpful when you want to show understanding. Example, I'll paraphrase the author's point. He thinks confidence comes from small daily actions. It shows you understood and you can express it clearly.
And now the final word. Retention. Sounds like memory.
Exactly. Retention is how well you remember what you read. It's not just about reading, it's about keeping it in your mind. You might say, my retention improved after I started journaling 1 line per day. It's a great word to talk about learning results.
That was so helpful. Now I feel like I can talk about my reading in English, not just do it. And the examples really made it clear.
That's the goal. Words give us power, not to sound smart, but to express ourselves honestly and clearly. Now that you have the words,
Let's take a moment to reflect and practice.
because the best time to start is now.
We've come a long way in this episode. From the little frustrations of not reading enough to tools, ideas, real moments, and now even the vocabulary to talk about it all. But I don't want this to just be a nice episode. I want it to start something. For me, for our listeners, for anyone who's been stuck between I want to and I never do. So let's take a small step together. Something simple. Something now.
That's a beautiful place to land, because the truth is, we don't change through pressure. We change through presence. So instead of saying, I need to read more, let's ask softer questions and take lighter steps. If you're listening right now, you don't need a big goal. You just need one small choice. Let's start with the window.
Ask yourself, what time of day feels quiet for you? Is it early morning before the world wakes up? Is it during your lunch break, a pause between tasks? Or maybe it's just before bed when the day has finally slowed down. Choose one window, just one. Now let's choose a place. Where does your mind feel calm? At your kitchen table with a warm cup? In a soft chair by the window? On the bus, earphones in, world fading out? It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to feel peaceful. Choose that place. Now, what will you read? Maybe you already have a book, or maybe you'll borrow one or download something free. Don't wait for the perfect book. Start with a curious one. Pick one just to try, not to finish. Now here's a practice I love, and it takes less than a minute. After you read today, even just 2 pages, write down one line that stayed with you. Not a summary, not a big lesson, just one sentence that made you feel something. It could be something the author said, or something it reminded you of. That line becomes your bookmark of the day. If you want to go one step further, send it to someone. Just one sentence. A friend, a family member. No long explanation, just, hey, this line made me think of you. And that small act turns your reading to connection. You're not just learning, you're sharing. And finally, pick your rhythm. You don't need a huge number, you just need a gentle plan. Do you want to try one book every 2 months? One book each month? A page a day? All of those are real. All of those count. Reading isn't about catching up, it's about showing up. So show up tonight with one window, one place, one book, one line. That's how habits grow. That's how language grows. That's how you grow.
I can feel the difference already. Before, reading felt like something I was failing to do. Now it feels like something I get to do. It's not about how fast I go, it's about how present I become. I've already chosen my window. Evening, just before bed. I've chosen my place, my couch, lamp on, phone far away, and I've chosen my rhythm. A page a day, and one sentence written down. That's my new quiet promise to myself.
And that's all it takes. A quiet promise, a gentle rhythm, and a story that begins again and again. In the next part, we'll close with a soft reminder, just a few final words to carry with you, not just for tonight, but for the days to come. Let's wrap this journey together.
What a quiet, powerful journey we've just taken together. We didn't just talk about books. We talked about building a space for yourself. A space where your mind can breathe and your language can grow. We started with a small frustration. I want to read more, but I get distracted. And slowly, gently, we found our way back to focus, back to calm, back to rhythm. Not through force, but through kindness, through soft habits, through daily moments that belong only to you. Reading, we've learned, is not about numbers or speed. It's about presence. And presence creates power in your words, in your thoughts, in your life.
And now it's your turn. You don't need a library. You don't need perfect silence. You just need one moment. Open a book, read one page, write one line. Let it land. Let it grow. Because the words you read today might become the words you speak tomorrow. And the words you speak tomorrow will shape how the world hears you. So start gently. Start now.
And as always, thank you for being with us. Whether you're just beginning your reading habit or starting again after a long break, we're proud of you. And we're here to walk beside you one sentence at a time.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then,
Every word you speak builds your future. Keep speaking, keep growing.
Thank you for listening to the Daily English Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, the more you learn, the more you grow.